Hello, and welcome to our October episode of Northwest City Politics. Today we're traveling to Golden Valley, where we will be meeting with Councilmember Maurice Harris, who is in his second term as a council member for the city of Golden Valley. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Eric. It's really great to be back here.
Yeah, it's been a minute since you were on the show. I would think that you were running for office when you were last on.
Exactly. My first time running in 2019 when Juanita was the host, and it was me and Steve Smigall, who was running for mayor, and we had a fun conversation just about what I was running for. And, 2019 seems to be far away compared to now in 2025. So.
Well, we're glad that you were able to come back to the show. We've kept it going since Juanita's passing,
Yes.
and the show has been on for really almost 22 years now. So
that's awesome to hear.
And it's great to be able to be the guest host. That's how I like to refer to myself with the audience at home. But really today, I think since it's been so long, maybe we could take a few minutes for you to sort of reintroduce yourself, who you are, why you chose to serve, and do you still like it?
I've been on council since 2020, so I was elected in 2019, ran for re-election in 2023, and the voters thankfully selected me back on for another 4 years. So the reason I first ran for office is because I believe, my background and skills, I thought I could use them to make the place I live a little bit better. When I first ran, it was about economic development. It was about really moving the city forward in progress. I think we're a great place. As you know, our location is amazing. We're in the middle of the West Metro. We're home to great headquarters, General Mills, Allianz, WSB. And so we have great assets. And for me, it's about, we're really good now, but we want to ensure that we make progress to continue that, to be really a great place to live. And that's when we look at development, infill development. We're built out. We're not like Maple Grove that has space to build out. We need to be really careful in how we redevelop. Looking at our housing stock, having more diverse housing options as our population age. We have residents that call to the city of like, we want to stay here. We don't want our 3-4 bedroom, 2-bathroom house. Right. There's somewhere we could downsize into, and we tell residents we don't have that. And so that's a need to ensure that we have more diverse housing options for residents. As well as just to make sure that internally our city is functioning at a high level. Technology changes, we got to keep up with that, and ensuring to have the resources our staff does to deliver great services that our residents expect. So that's why I kind of ran and stayed for another 4 years throughout a pandemic, George Floyd, everything in between. Right. That, challenges not government on all levels, from federal down to local, and to kind of ensure that we continue to keep up with that.
Right, and it must be very fascinating to have entered public service right at the dawn of a global pandemic.
Exactly.
Right, and then there was a lot of civil unrest, the murder of George Floyd. You house multinational corporations that even now in, current administration at the federal level are impacted in their business model, which affects residents. And, you have to have the infrastructure investments to continue to make Golden Valley, the wonderful place that, that it has been for so long.
Exactly. And just those challenges that, you walk in an office, you think, city council, it's not hard. It's not easy either. And then you're confronted with a, once in a generation pandemic.
Right.
No one gives you a book of, here's the book of how to deal with this.
Right.
You're going to fly, you try to listen to your city staff, state leaders, federal leaders on what to do. I remember those first few days was you have small businesses saying, how do we stay afloat? How do we stay open? Residents wondering, like, what should we do about masking? As that became a big issue further in that year.
Right.
How do we still provide services when we were remote? Those are all challenges that, not just us faced, but a lot of cities faced. And I think, I credit our great staff, because they roll with the punches to kind of keep us going, to keep us abreast of changes by the day, by the hour almost, especially those first few weeks when it was kind of this black hole of we know nothing, and we're just trying to keep up to make sure that we're still doing the job. Doing council meetings remote from home was a interesting task, to say the least, for the first almost 8-9 months we're doing that. So it changes dynamics. especially when you talk about big issues where you usually have the public forum and you have residents calling in and trying to give their, their input. And so it was really a challenging moment, but I think we learned from that. We became better in how we can use technology better, especially
Right.
of how to bring residents more into the process and not the old way of things. So yeah, it was interesting to say the least.
For sure. And so much has changed since then. And I think, that remote technology is the part of so many people's lives now, and in the workforce and, at home within Golden Valley, how you interact with people, how you get services or how you make requests. So it's really great that Golden Valley has always seemed to be able to, kind of keep up with the challenges, because the challenges, they continue to come, right?
Yes.
And so, and they come in all shapes and sizes, right? There was a water outage. There was,
Yes.
some issues most recently with, like, the police chief, for
Yes.
example, and that one I think has probably got some residents equally as concerned as the water tower.
Yes, and I think when we talk about those two things, I think we're going to do the water tower first and kind of
Sure.
and that was for us a a pain point in a sense. As you know, we're in a joint water commission with not just us, but Crystal and also New Hope.
Yeah.
And so part of that challenge was communication between all three cities. It's not just Golden Valley doing our communications, but we want to make sure that we are across the board sending out the same messages of, what's happening, what's going on, and what's the next steps are. So, as the city manager read a statement of, some of the communication issues, it is on us to make sure we are accurate with information that we are trying to give as best as possible and as fast as we can to assure residents that we are on top of things. And so that was a really big learning process for us. That was the first time I was council the water went out.
Right. We take it for granted.
You kind of take it for granted, exactly.
Didn't even
You
know
expect
there
the
was a
to
water
run.
commission.
Exactly.
I thought every city owned their own water
Exactly.
tower.
Like I knew we had a joint water commission, but again, it's like, what are those powers? How do we work together?
Right.
And so I think that was a learning process, not just for Golden Valley, but for all three of our cities. And I think that encouraged us to work closer together. Also on our end on emergency management of ensuring we give residents the information that they're not out of the loop or feel, should we empty our water tank? It's like, don't do that. Just boil your water. And I think from that, it's a learning process that we obviously need better. But for the next emerging, not just with water, but in any kind of major crisis.
Lessons learned. Yeah.
Exactly, to do that. And so that was a learning process that, talking to residents, we heard them loud and clear to make sure that we are on top of things as best we can. Sunday morning at 6 a.m.,
Right.
you're not expecting much.
Right.
And so that was a fairly big lesson that we took to heart, and we continue to work on for that. Speaking of police chief as well, the investigation is on our city website. So if residents wants to read through the information on the investigation, the outcome of that, they're more than welcome to. For me, it's about ensuring that we provide great police service. We just had our interim chief, Matt Clark, start last week, and I've talked to him actually today just to get caught up, get to learn more about him. He is jumping in and getting to learn about the city across the board.
Sure.
And his job, he understands, as to continue to provide steady leadership during this transition period, to provide support as best as he can. He used to be the police chief over at University of Minnesota, as well as he was about 22 years in the Minneapolis Police Department too. So really experienced, really down to earth, really easygoing. And I think he'll be great as we start to transition to start to hire a new chief. We are releasing the RFP to hire a search firm. Hopefully, the next few weeks we'll get them on board and start that process. And of course, resident input will be important as well to find a great leader to put the department back on foot and a more stable future. I would tell you this: the officers who work for the city are dedicated. They love their job. They love interacting with residents. And police service, if you call 911, someone will show up.
Right.
And it'll be great professionals at the job. So I have full confidence in that. And I think our council supports them fully. And I think, for our residents that always support the police department, continue to do the great job that they always been doing.
Yeah, and it's a tough job. I mean, it always has been. It'll always continue to be. And Golden Valley, has invested really a lot of time in trying to redefined public safety and they've accomplished a lot of great things.
Exactly. And I think when you look at investing technology, there's technology side to it. Also, the local option sales tax that we passed in 2023 for a new police fire headquarters.
Right.
I think that's big. I went on a tour recently of the police station, and for a building, it was built in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
It is out. We have outgrown the building.
Yep.
There's supplies in the hallways. Every nook and cranny to kind of put equipment in has been, used. And for our staff in order to have a good working environment, is outlived its usefulness. And that's what the fire side as well, as we're looking at a duty crew model.
Okay.
So, we're now kind of in a transition with the fire department. We used to be on calls. That means you beep a ring, you showed up, you go. But recruitment of firefighters, that is not the lifestyle they want.
Right.
And so what duty crew is, they have run a schedule, and that means for the overnight shift, right now, there's nowhere they can sleep at in our current stations.
Right. It wasn't designed for that.
It wasn't designed for that. And so that's why we push forward a sales tax to help cover the cost of that. So better space, better working environment. I think as far as retention of police officers and firefighters, having a space where they can operate easily is very important. And so that's why we push for that sales tax to help build that out, as well as the public works facility too.
Sure.
And so that's part of that process. It's pay and benefits get you so far, but if it's a place where you can't do their job with ease, that's a drawback too.
Yeah.
And
100%.
so for us, it's about ensuring that we have like a holistic look at this. We look at pay, we look at facilities, we look at providing services for that. So that's a big thing about it as well. So as we kind of continue with adding technology, adding the training, ensuring that we're giving them great benefits and great pay as best we can in our budget, having good facilities where they can do their jobs very well is also key to that.
We hear a lot about policing.
Yeah.
Almost every day.
Exactly.
You can't get away from it beyond Golden Valley. Are there any things happening outside of the boundaries of the city that you think that Golden Valley would have even more difficulty responding to, or any kind of concern or any kind of challenge that might come our way? I mean, we've heard our governor say certain things about different activities.
Yes, I would say for us at the moment, that's not, at least on my radar, a concern at the moment. Of course, things can change. And you want to be nimble with that. For example, we talk immigration enforcement.
Right.
Golden Valley, we followed a law. If there is a person who is an undocumented immigrant who committed a crime, have a warrant, we will follow the law to turn to the right authorities that person.
Sure.
We are not in the immigration enforcement business. We're not trained to do that.
Right.
As a federal responsibility and not a local responsibility.
Right.
And I think our officers understand that. We are not here to do the federal government's job.
Right.
And so I think when people are concerned, we hear about ICE raids or things like that.
Sure. Yeah.
Our officers are not involved in those direct activities.
Right.
And that's not our role. We're not trained to do that.
Sure.
It would be irresponsible for us to try to do that. And so I think for us, our police department, to focus on ensuring that people in the city are safe, that they can call us and we'll give a response to them as best we can. And so as everything happens outside the borders of Minneapolis, that's always the focal point of everything.
Right.
We want to make sure we kind of, let's do what we can do best. And if that does occur, that we work as a city to ensure that we are in the boundaries that we need to be in.
Absolutely. Yeah. And again, being a public official, working with the city and trying to provide public safety, but not only that, prosperity and opportunities and development. Yeah. It's a big job. What keeps you, doing it? Like, where do you find the energy to do it?
It's kind of exciting actually too. I mean, the stuff we've done in the last, I think we're in a great position now than we were even 2 or 3 years ago. As I mentioned, the local option sales tax. So when you look at our public works facility, our campus, City Hall campus itself, the public works, they do a lot of great things, from snow removal, obviously, street
Right.
repairs,
Yeah.
water main break repairs. The facilities that we had that were built in the 70s, I want to say, 70s, maybe early 80s. Again, they're outdated. The equipment can barely get into the buildings. It's almost like a game of Jenga to move
Right.
things in and out. We have a cold storage lot that's separate from our City Hall campus, so we put our snow removal equipment, things like that. And so it's really not effective, not efficient. And so moving that to another place, we are in the process of purchasing a property over on 55 in Douglas to put them all in one facility
Okay.
and move that from the downtown campus where it's a little bit inefficient to a place where they can operate, have more space, more room to grow. That opens up our City Hall campus, and that's really exciting for me. We did a downtown study back in 2019. ULI helped out with that, Urban Land Institute,
Yeah.
resident input about what do you want to see this campus in down the road. And now having that opportunity where new police fire headquarters,
Right.
the library is possibly also could be renovated or be new,
Sure.
gives us a chance to open up some land for development, which is exciting to kind of mixed housing, retail options, a city center that actually is a place that is open for all.
Right.
Where right now I kind of joked in the council meeting, it's War Tower, the parking lot, the vines across the street. That's
Right.
downtown that we know. And this is a process that has taken years.
Yeah. A
You
long
know,
time it's been worked on.
I mean, since 2018, 2019 to
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And now we're in a position where we can kind of go on that. And so for me, this is a great opportunity that we don't get a lot
Right.
to really kind of build out what can be a place that's be welcoming for all our residents and be kind of a focal point. And that's really exciting. And I think when residents, I know people say a lot of things in the general atmosphere about it, but this is not done in a vacuum. This was not done in a dark of night where we all met up and saying, like, we're going to do this. But
Right.
it's been with input of what do we want to see this campus be, to be a more welcoming place and encourage development. That will help people's property taxes where now there's more
Right.
commercial space on the books.
Yeah.
That helps with property tax for residential to keep it
Eases
lower.
some of the burden.
Easing
Yeah.
the burden.
Share
And so,
share
share
the
the cost
costs.
across.
Yeah.
That's why I did local option sales tax, because some residents were opposed to it, like, oh, we don't need sales tax. I'm like, well, the only way we could do these projects is either we do a local option sales tax where people outside of Golden Valley are paying money,
Right.
or it's bonding / property tax hikes.
Right.
I don't want to do that. And so how can we spread that cost across to all people who traverse the city? And so for me, that's kind of keeps me going. So those projects when we did City Hall campus, when we're seeing, shovels hit the ground, when we look at 55, the Optum site
Right.
that was finally redeveloped, and I was there for ribbon cutting for Amazon in one of those buildings, and, that's property tax. Again, spreading out the costs and
Yeah.
creating jobs start at $22 an hour.
Yeah.
I know people have
One of
buildings on
the
Amazon.
distribution center, right? Yeah.
I know people have buildings on Amazon.
Yeah.
Either way.
Right.
But start at $22 an hour, especially if you're a high school graduate. That's hard to come by these days.
Yeah.
So those are things that kind of keep me excited, knowing that we're really starting those building blocks of building a more vibrant city.
Yeah.
Because when I look at Robbinsdale and their downtown,
Yeah.
wonderful. Hopkins has done a lot of
Yeah.
work in the last few years that really
Yeah.
made it more vibrant.
St. Louis Park.
St. Louis Park.
Westopolis.
Westopolis. And how do we and not saying we have to be like Robbinsdale, we have to be like Hopkins. And it's something that's unique for Golden Valley, but it's a place where people can really congregate, like, this is ours.
Right.
And we're excited to go downtown. We're excited to go to restaurants and shops and building a more connected downtown than just good luck crossing across Winnetka, across the
Right.
different shopping
Yeah.
areas, and having more vibrant feeling place that people can come and gather and hang out and enjoy Golden Valley.
Yeah. It's a great city. And the residents are very lucky to have you advocating for them on their behalf. And so the council really is made up, I think there's the mayor
Yes.
and there's four
members.
members. And as it turns out, 2 of those seats are they up for election, right?
Yes. So 2 seats are open. Jillian Rosenquist and Denise Lemare Anderson are rolling off council. And I've served with them. Jillian B for about, trying to think, because she started, here's where I did, so I think 6 years, I want to say.
Yeah.
Denise for the full 4-year term.
Right.
And they've been wonderful council members. Always asking great, sharp questions, always digging into the details, making my job a little bit easier.
Right.
In the sense of just having those great discussions as we've, again, I think Denise's first meeting was, I don't want to speak for too much, but it was, we had a development on the Golden Valley Country Club for a co-op building, as well as a mask mandate back in 2022 or 21.
Quite a mix of issues.
And it's like, welcome, Denise, this is your first meeting. Have fun with this.
Right.
But they've been wonderful council members, but they're rolling off. And so it's 2 open seats.
It's 4-year term, right?
4-year term. And I think there's currently, total of 6 people running for it.
Wow, okay.
So for me, with elections, when I ran for re-election the first time, it was just a kind of, please vote for me, obviously.
Sure.
But just vote.
Yeah.
This is
and they can do that now, right? Residents of Golden Valley can actually go and vote today.
They go to City Hall, 8 to 4:30, City Hall building, downtown Golden Valley. Show up, vote. I think that's Monday through Friday, and I think the Saturday for Election Day, it'll be open from 9 to 3. So they go then. And Monday, they go up until 5 o'clock on the Monday for Election Day.
Sure.
And then, of course, Election Day, show up to your polling place.
7 a.m. Yeah.
Exactly. But for me, it's really go do your research and go vote, because this is your city. And that was kind of my thing, was just, if you don't vote for me, that's fine. I can live.
Right.
But I just want you to participate in the process and have your voice heard.
For sure. It's very important.
And it's very important, because local issues, everything looks at national, obviously, because that's national.
Takes up a lot of space.
Takes a lot of space. But local decisions on development, decisions on street projects, decisions on police and fire. I mean, those are the bread and butter things that really have a direct impact.
And voting is really just one of the many things that residents of Golden Valley can do to help shape the direction of their city, right? There's several commissions they can also serve on.
And there's our board of commissions, which are very vital in how we do our job. We kind of looked for their guidance and advice on many topics. Of course, planning commission is always a big one, because they have that direct decision making process in it. Economic development, zoning as well, our border zoning appeals, and each council member is a liaison to each of the commissions.
Which one are you?
I'm to the Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Commission.
Okay.
And they've been doing some great work in the last few years. They do a lot of programming. Recently, last Thursday, they did a program on immigration.
Oh, okay.
So they had a speaker from the International Institute of Minnesota come to discuss immigration, just kind of a overview of policies, and there's a lot of misinformation, disinformation about immigration.
Correct.
And so she did a great review of just, here's the immigration system currently as it is, even with all the changes and things like that, to give just good basic information on what is immigration in the United States, how it's impacting the metro area, some great data on percent of non-native, non-U.S. born residents.
Sure.
And then the program they do to help, with job training and the resources they help for immigrants and refugees in the region. So it was really good, a great turnout. I think I would say for us, we get 15, 20 people for a program. It's really great. We had about 35, 40.
Wow, that's
show
amazing.
Up. And so they do really great work. But in our commissions help inform the work we do on a council. So I know we do, usually in the spring is our recruitment time. But if residents want to just submit an application, they can go to our website, submit an application, want to be on a board commission. We do interviews. If there's openings throughout the year, we try to fill them.
Yeah.
But usually spring is the time when terms kind of roll over. And so, and especially not just residents, but our youth.
Right.
We have youth openings on all our commissions. And so if you're a high school student or middle school student looking to get involved.
It's never too early.
It's never too early. Great for the college application as well. But we really want our youth, teenagers to be involved in how government works. Because I think that's a gap where it's like, what can I do? If you want planning commission to have some power and sway, actually.
Right.
And our youth members, when I've interacted with them, they do really good work and really involved too. So just kind of plug for that. So if you if you want to do some, it's not a lot of time committed either. It's our planning commission is kind of the big one. They meet I think twice a month.
Right.
On Monday nights, but usually it's once a month meetings. Usually the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, second to last or last of the month, and usually a couple hours. So it's not It's not too much commitment, but you really do have a great impact.
And one of the nice things is, we're here at CCX Create in Studio A, but CCX Media airs a lot of these meetings, and you can just tune in and watch them on cable or live stream them on demand through the website of the city. And it's a great way to find out what's going on and stay abreast and become involved. It's a great entryway.
Yeah, and I always ask who's watching us? And it's kind of the joke we have. Right. But I hear us they watch city council meetings, they watch planning commission meetings, they stay in loop. And I do office hours. I do once a month. This month it's this Saturday at Byerly's in Golden Valley, 9 to 11 a.m. Just to hear comments and feedback.
Oh, excellent.
So, stop
People
by.
can stop by and say hello.
Exactly, say hello and ask what's going on. But all our council members, you reach out with email or phone call. We're happy to sit down.
Yeah, and we've shared your contact information with the viewers at home on the screen.
Awesome.
And I told you this time would go by really fast, and
I
now
know.
we have 90 seconds.
I know, 90 seconds left. Oh, gosh.
So thanks again for joining us.
Thank you.
Let's not let another 6 years go by
No,
before
let's
you
don't.
come back. Would love to continue to get updates from you and hear what's going on and give you an opportunity to talk to residents. And
Yeah, definitely.
I guess I would just turn over to you the last minute. Is there
Anything else?
anything you really want
Last
to
words,
tell?
eh?
Yeah, anything you, not last words, but anything that you really want people to take away from all this? And
Yeah, I would say this is your government. For me, I would say a placeholder, but I'm here trying to represent the best interests of residents. And I think for us, we want you to reach out to us. We want you to give your feedback. I would say, we're not doing everything you want us to do. We're a city of 22,000 people. We're trying to balance the interests of a broad swath of the population. But if we don't hear from you, we don't know.
right.
And so
You have the opportunity to reach out.
exactly, and this is how government works.
Yep.
It's your interaction with us and trying to find the best possible solution. And so I just encourage residents, go out and vote, reach out to us, give us a phone call, shoot us an email. I take any constructive criticism. I do not know everything in the world. I don't act like I do. And so I just want people to be really just reach out to us and give us the best feedback you can.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for
Thank
being on the
you.
show. And to our viewers at home, thanks for tuning in again, as always. Be well, and we'll see you next month. Until then, take care.